GMGM, Artist Journal, August 27th, 2022, Berlin. My first words in the morning, once again, that I vocalize are to you, dear listeners and watchers of this program. People have said some very nice things online, arguably too nice, but I'll take it. You know, the thought that went in my head was, and I couldn't find it. I looked for this Rimbaud. It's my artist journal, so I talk about Rimbaud, and we will talk about a lot of literary things, actually, as we go on this journey together. Should I keep going? And I'm on episode 9 here. There's a wedding I have to attend next weekend in Baden-Baden, so, I mean, I'll probably not be broadcasting. As I said in an earlier episode, there are going to be days that I miss here. But I feel this weird commitment to do this religiously, practically, unless I can't. Let's put it that way. So anyways, some words I had read in a Rimbaud poem 15 years ago were going through my head, which was just give me the circus freaks, the madmen, the beggars, and this sort of thing. And not to call everybody that is not but it's these are my people, artists. So it means a lot to hear a positive response from artists. I looked for that poem for 20 minutes, actually, before I started this, because I really wanted to share that with you guys, because it's some of my favorite lines. I'm not even a huge Rimbaud guy. He was a poet who lived in France. I think he was considered an early symbolist, is what you'd call him. He was with Verlaine. He was 21 when he died or something, and he wrote a whole bunch of famous poems, which are kind of in the French literary canon. And I think it's appropriate, actually, that we're bringing up Rimbaud, because he's pretty dark. And I think he's a little overrated, but when he hits high, he hits very high. Je est une autre, I is another, some profound stuff. Also, where he's going through the vowels of, I think it's a poem called Vowels. Let's just look quickly before we return to Rat Cloaksy here, the great Rat Cloaksy. I'll just show you an example. And actually, this is okay, hold on. Vowels, I want to go into that Déjeuner sur l'herbe too. Vowels Rimbaud. I believe that is the name. Here we go. Well, this is a little long to read, but I'm going to read the first line. A black, you white, I red, that's E. A black, E white, I red, you green, O blue. Vowels, I shall tell one day of your mysterious origins. So let's just leave it there. I laugh at kind of poetry readings for the most part, but Rimbaud we can sort of tip our hat to, because this is actually going to inform a lot of things that we are getting into here in one way or another. So Rat Cloaksy comes back to bring it back to the Tezos art scene. One of the top, we could call him a top 3, and he is back from his vacation, which I hope was restful. Very nice guy. Another disturbing work. Let's just expand that. Another headless work here. And so we're going to talk a little bit about phone art today, because this is something that's close to my heart. I've been working on the phone since about 2016, maybe even late November 2015. It was when the iPhone 6S came out, and it's what I call the first art phone, because there were enough apps you could export. There was enough processing power where you could actually start to build works. And we'll probably take a look at one at the end that I'm actually pretty proud of. Anyways, Rat Cloaksy has been working with the phone, and he has a very, very nice approach. I mean, he takes a painterly approach you can see in the brushwork over here. It looks like he's this is classic, painterly kind of techniques where you basically, and I don't know if this is exactly what he's doing, who knows what he's doing, but you basically put underpaintings and you build a painting from the foundation up. So here he'll have like a lighter green that probably covers this entire area, or maybe this block here, probably the entire area though, of the bottom. And then he'll add, say, this darker green on top and let the underneath green shine through a little bit. And you see there's even a darker green, and this was maybe something that he put in before, but he's letting it shine through. This is kind of like revealing your process. You'll see this in Picasso as well. And let me just plug in my computer here, running low on battery. So very interesting. You see it on the blue too, where he's got a lighter blue. You see a darker blue bleeding through. You can't tell if these are corrections or what he's doing, but kind of leaving your trail as to how you built a painting is a very modern approach. So this all feeds into my theory that Rat Cloaksy is a pretty, or I've heard other people mention this as well, so I'm not taking authority on this is my idea. But I think feeds into the view that Rat Cloaksy knows what he's doing when it comes to painting. And I think we all knew that, but he is informed. That's what it tells me. And that actually creates value in a lot of ways for what I'd call it for those in the know, that sort of understand the tradition and can recognize a good thing. That creates value because it shows competence and knowledge of the tradition, and now he's playing off of it in a digital way. And there's also other stuff that's going on. So that's just the technical side that's kind of painterly. If we also look at it, you'll see, to me, these poses are very reminiscent of David Hockney's portrait series. And I don't mention David Hockney because he also worked on the phone and iPad and was a pioneer of sorts before I ever did, actually. And you got to give credit to an older guy for understanding the potential of these technologies and just accepting it. Like I've had people, and when I came to Berlin, someone in a bar who was like some art person saying the phone that's a toy, like people think like this. And so, so credit to David Hockney and also to Rat Cloaksy here for, and our generation, or maybe some of you are a lot younger than me, but let's call it the NFT crowd. Like we don't need to be convinced that the phone or the iPad is a useful tool. But amazingly enough, people like Hockney back in 2007, 8, 9, when he started using the Brushes app, which isn't even made anymore, that was seen as a pretty edgy thing to do. And again, applying kind of painterly techniques. Rat Cloaksy makes it his own. Now, you see this pose here is reminiscent of David Hockney's portrait series, and I think I brought this up. I did. David Hockney portraits. So you see these over here, these blue portraits, like the chair. I almost wonder if he's quoting these. I don't know if we see one with a white suit here. But it's tempting, or maybe he changes the color. Maybe it has nothing to do. Like maybe he's doing his own. But when I see all of these, and we can go to some of his other works, this very disturbing dark works. I mean, it's apropos to mention Rimbaud at the start of this episode, this kind of weird obsession with, chopping heads off. And like you have this cannibalism vibe in this first one. Here's another one. I mean, people talk about like, I'll once in a while see tweets on Twitter about like, oh, I want some dark art. It's like, well, have you heard of this guy? Have you heard of Rat Cloaksy? Because this is pretty dark art, in my opinion. So, weird obsession with this headless business. And here, just another one. So, my favorite author is J.G. Ballard, and he always said, classic surrealist. We will go into Ballard in future episodes. That may be a little later here, but we can't say it all at the start here. But he said, follow your obsessions as an artist. And I think Rat Cloaksy is definitely following his obsessions. I mean, pretty wild stuff here when you look at the iconography. Pretty wild stuff. So So he is back. I mean, and let's just look at the market on this because I think it's worth, like, I mean, if you're looking for real art here on the cheap, this is a one of one. I mean, it sold for 41 Tezos. Like, the reason I'm not here buying every one of these things is because I'm just actually trying not to hoard everything. Okay, I already have 3 of these. I could have, like, I have $60 for a one of one Rat Cloaksy. That'll probably 100x at some point. I could be wrong. I mean, this could be worth less in 2 years. So it's not, financial or collecting advice here, but I'm just saying, like, 41 Tezos. I almost feel like maybe I shouldn't even be mentioning this stuff because maybe, like, I noticed Adelia's collection and Gloomtube's collection just keep kind of getting more and more thin, the floors there. And I'm wondering if these videos are actually, people are acting a little bit on them because these floors are razor thin. I mean, you buy one work and the price goes up 50 Tezos. Like, that's how thin some of these floors are. Like, we could quickly look at Gloomtube here, and I'll just show you. Like, you don't need to, you can literally buy one work, like, see, this guy got bought. Now it's 50, right? There was 18. I paid 18. There was one listed for 20, and that's gone now. And now we're at 50. So I say with some reluctance, these things, 'cause I almost think, like, I don't want to let the cat out of the bag too much here. But these artists also deserve what they're worth. And if that means things get a little more expensive, well, we all know who Rat Cloaksy is, the community. We do, right? So, so save your money and start buying it's not financial advice. That's my opinion, okay? That's what I say to myself. And I don't think it's fair for me and I don't have endless funds either, as I've mentioned many times here. I don't think it's fair for me to just try and get them all, and, that's not cool either. So let other people get their pieces here and get their one of one Rat Cloaksys. I don't need, like, 7 Rat Cloaksy. I'll happily take them, but let's spread the love. And it could hurt the market if one person starts owning everything, okay? And that's not good for anybody, collector or artist. So just on Rat Cloaksy, if you've never seen his work, he basically has 2 series that I can tell. This finger art gallery, he calls it finger art, what I call phone art, or what I used to call mobile art, but it never took on, because I think that the key sort of essential characteristic for me of phone art or whatever is the fact that it's mobile. It's actually, I put the iPad in the same category because it's sort of working with these apps. You can export and move things back and forth between apps if you want, and you can be on the move. And to me, this is like the equivalent of the Impressionists with all of a sudden they had tubes of paint because of the Industrial Revolution and everything and technological progress. They could go out to the countryside and start to paint. So all of a sudden you get Van Gogh or Monet putting their little portable stuff and they are painting. I think that's the same revolution. So I still, in my heart of hearts, I call it mobile art, even though this is not taken on at all, despite my, 100 views of my essay, So he calls it finger art, and fair enough. I mean, again, who's to say? And everybody has their view. And look at how good he is at this. So, I was lucky to win this lottery here for this guy. Yeah, so, I mean, I don't need to own everything. Look at this. A little non-finito in here. I wonder if he's working with many layers. Obviously, he's working with many layers. And again, we saw this in Sumreyusi's work, where I suspected maybe layers are getting turned off. And so you get this kind of non-finito. And we'll go into the non-finito, I promise, in a future lecture, a fascinating history that dates back to Michelangelo. And Warhol, of course, was the master of the non-finito, the unfinished work, which actually makes it look more poetic, more poetry. Sorry, instant poetry. We will get into all that. But for now, we just see it here. Looks like some layers are being turned off. Again, I think I own this one too. Exactly. So I'm kind of like unless I see something I must have, I am kind of letting everybody else get their take. Because I like this community that much. And yeah, so a couple other things. So I want to go to some of his old work because it's absolutely spectacular. And this episode is starting to go along. This was the work that how I discovered him. I just saw this on Twitter, and I just thought to myself, this is like insane. This guy in a straitjacket. Again, we get this like Hannibal Lecter mask with his kind of Rat Cloaksy sort of black star on the eye look. You get this wild, almost like Jupiter with like I don't know, a couple of supplicants. Is that what you'd call it? I don't know. So anyways, and then this wild, this polo hat with the, modern machine guns, the North Face. It's kind of terrifying, actually. His work is quite terrifying. So all you people on Twitter that are looking for dark art, I mean, you might get more than you bargained for with Rat Cloaksy, because it's bordering on, and I like dark, but it borders on almost too dark at times. I also want to, this was a one of one I got. People have pointed this out on Twitter. Yeah, I mean, there's a whole story. I mean, I kind of already told it quickly, but yeah, I just happened to be on when this thing got minted. This was during the one of one kind of festival that was like 3 months ago or whatever. What was July 4th? And I just happened to see it, and I just thought it was 500 Tezos, which is about $750. And I thought about it for about 2 minutes, and I just thought, you know what, like, just go for it. I had just discovered his work, and I was like, oh my God, like, now I have the opportunity for a one of one. So you see, like, it was listed at $12.49. Yeah, I took about 2 minutes, and I was just like, just go for it. And yeah, I'm glad I did. I mean, I call this almost a museum maker. And let's look at his work really close, because it actually stands up. It's worth the look. Look at this. I think this is made in Microsoft Paint. But you see the beauty. And again, like, it's got like this, I don't know if we can even, it's got this square pixel. You see, like, the roughness. And that's the great thing. I mean, my dad always said, like, when you go to the Vatican, he grew up in Rome, my dad, and he moved to Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. He was a physicist, Gustavo Pocobelli, and he always said, and he used to spend a lot of time at the Vatican when he was a kid. He was what he called a Sunday painter. Actually, he's very good. He made a lot of abstract works, and he's actually very good, like better than a lot of the stuff I see in the galleries, but he got 0. He wasn't very social, and, so he's still around, though, so props to him. But you see, what he would say is, you look at these old Renaissance paintings, they actually get pretty rough when you go close, and that's basically what you're seeing here. And again, it's kind of like this, revealing the process a little bit. Like, if it was too smooth, it wouldn't be as interesting, if you ask me. And you see all the labor that goes into this, so just a gorgeous work of art. Another thing that's interesting on this is the color. We were talking about De Chirico's green skies, and here you have like green clouds, a dark green sky. It's like a blue-green, and it's, again, the Saint Christopher, I think it's called, and patron of travelers. And you see, some of the work seems to be revolving around the Ukraine war, and you see these mines. So a lot of symbolism. There's just so much going on in his work. And you can't tell if that's a sun or a halo around. And he always has this kind of hat tip to Italian painting, which is always appreciated in this neck of the woods. So, and let's look at the eyes, actually, really quickly. Do we have this open? Let's look at the eyes, because again, the details. Actually, we have a much better, I think, rendition here. Here we go. Yeah. Yeah, look at the eyes on this thing. So, I mean, again, I call this like a digital art revolution that's happening on Tezos, and look no further, So yeah, so there's that. So Rat Cloaksy, check out his work. We're gonna go to other. I'm not gonna spoil. Like, I mean, okay, we'll go to one last work. His first work is, or no, not his first work. Let's see if I can find it, because this episode is already going long. But there's just so much to talk about with him, and maybe I think it's the Fall of Pepelon. I mean, it's like unbelievable work. This work, oh, it raised the price. Did someone buy this? I was looking at it at 1,000. I was seriously considering buying this at 1,000 Tezos. Did someone buy it? No. The price just got relisted 2 days ago. Darn. I mean, like, the train may have left the station on this, guys. I wouldn't be selling this for 1,000 Tezos in a million years. It's an edition of 15. So, I mean, this is like one of the most spectacular digital artworks out there. Again, he's got this like reference to like the Fall of Babylon. Like, we've seen this before. I'm trying to think, who is that? Bruegel? Shall we look? Let's look. Bruegel, Babylon. Yeah, okay. All right. I don't know if this is the direct reference, but yeah, you see, okay, Peter Bruegel, the great, what is he, like Flemish? It's German Wikipedia, so I'm not sure. Yeah, but I mean, you see this thing here, so, and then we go back to here. So I'm not sure which reference he used. Maybe he made it his own too, which is always nice. I'm sure a lot of this stuff actually, so who knows where he got a lot of this from. Here's the Creme du Creme crowd, one of the main groups on Tezos. There's like a Pepe in the background. I mean, let's just maximize this. So yeah, I guess I missed my opportunity, but again, like, you can't own everything, and I can't own everything, that's for sure. I mean, a spectacular work of art. I mean, the fall, it's just spectacular. So, yeah, you see the shoes, the detail. So they rose the price on this wisely. I was like, I almost moved in on this. I was thinking, I'm going to lose my opportunity. It looks like I did. I mean, who knows? Maybe you could probably put an offer for 1,000, and maybe there probably would be a taker. So, like, the last offer that came in was for 169 from Vincent Van Gogh, who has actually pretty good taste, I have to say. I learned a few things from his collection. So props to him. And yeah, so I don't want to go too far. What I did want to do, though, is I wanted to show you sort of like an early phone work that I did that I'm actually pretty proud of. Let's see if Superware actually works today. Let's see. This is also made on the phone, actually. This is not as early. This is maybe, let me see if I put actually, sorry, that's in the main collection. I have a couple of works that I could show you that were done on the phone. I still think the phone is a majorly underutilized tool. A lot of these compositions here actually start on the phone. Let's see. Here we go. This was a very early phone artwork that I did. This came, we actually have an offer on that. An early iPhone work by Adrian Pocobelli. I was calling it Internet Pop 1,000 by 1,000. I used, yeah. So basically what you have going on here, I'm quite proud of this work. This is basically a Robert Rauschenberg painting that's stretched the hell out of using some sort of glitch app. Then I used the Layout app, which I think is owned by Instagram now. And so I took an iPhone ad, a mobile ad on, classic 300 pixel ad. And in that app, you could actually move the image where like the top will be at the bottom. So that's the bottom of the ad. This is the top. And so based on a screenshot, then I put a little bit of an angle on it. I was really proud of this. So I did a few car ads. And then you get the drips, but you also get this digital thing going on. Car ad number 2. And one more digital. Yeah, and this was another really interesting one. So I say, again, combining traditional painting, sampling. Okay, like this is like hip hop for me. I'm not even a huge hip hop guy. I'm more techno. But you see, sampling paintings. This is from a Larry Rivers painting. And taking the brush strokes and then using layering to like not sure what you're doing, then you remove and add layers, change to multiply, and before you know it, you have something pretty interesting on your hands. Again, composed on an iPhone 6S. This is my Genesis piece. It's actually, someone is selling it. Instigator. Wow, they even put it as their profile picture. Thank you, Instigator. They're selling it for 10 ETH. Wow. Okay. So I guess they like the work. I like the work too. Isn't that great? I'm glad that they like it. So you know it's in the right hands. And they're selling it for 10 ETH. Okay. Thank you very much. I'm glad you like it. So this is from my Peloponnesian War art book. I call it Study for the Peloponnesian War. We have many episodes to go here, folks. So let's just leave it here. We will go into that and what's going on in that series in a future episode. Thank you for joining me once again. I hope you enjoyed it. Until next time, take care.